know, I'm prone to impulsively spending large amounts of money on GameStop.com. And since this last month they had 2 back-to-back 50% off sales, I may have gone a little bit crazy to the tune of $11,385. And what you guys are seeing here is the result of a few weeks worth of game deliveries. What I'm gonna attempt to show you guys in this video is exactly what it takes to get all of this stuff opened and sorted and processed and out the door. So the first step in the process is obviously going to be taking all of this stuff that is boxed up. I think it's pretty much all just games in here, and getting it out, getting it sorted so that it can be listed. But for me, you guys know I'm all about that sweet, sweet content. So the first step for me is actually going to be taking all this stuff in my office and doing a live GameStop opening on YouTube, which at this point will have already happened. You're welcome to go back and check that out if you are interested. But for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to set up a little bit of a time lapse to give you guys a little backstage peek at what that process actually looks like. All right, so I have now gotten everything stacked up and ready to go in my office here. We've got the table ready to go here as well for the live. And I know that some of you, if you're newer to the channel, are probably wondering, Caleb, what the heck are you going to do with $11,000 worth of video games from GameStop? And the answer is, as my full-time job, I am an Amazon and eBay reseller. I buy things for cheap and then sell them for more when I can spot value. Once I get all of this stuff open and sorted and checked in and everything, what I'm gonna do is send it all off to Amazon, to their warehouse. I use a program called Fulfillment by Amazon where they will fulfill everything for me, and then it will just sit in their warehouse. I don't have to store it, I don't have to ship it until a buyer buys it, at which point they will ship it out for me. It's a really nice, streamlined system, and one that works well for a one-man operation like myself. I'll talk a little bit more about the business side later, but right now, it's time for a little time lapse of this YouTube live that I'm about to do. We get a little bit meta here at Phoenix Resale. Alrighty folks, so the stream is done. It went really well, was about a couple hours long, and here is the aftermath. We've got a good number of stacks of games all on this table here. And then check this out. This is all the packaging that I went through. Then over here, we've got even more stacks of games that I ended up opening. You can see we've got a few solid stacks here of complete in-box games that I can sell in very good condition, which is really nice. And you wanna know the saddest thing? We've still got so many more boxes to go. Now this right here is pretty much the part of the process that even the people who tune into the live streams normally don't get to see, because it's just really boring. It's tearing down all of these boxes, consolidating the packing material. One question that I often get is whether or not I reuse all of this stuff, and the answer is yes. Pretty much everything that I get from GameStop, except for the bubble mailers, I do end up reusing for my resale business. So that's just kind of a nice little bonus that saves me on materials costs. But I thought that I would take this opportunity to answer a couple of FAQs that I often get about this whole GameStop arbitrage process. One of those questions is, what do I do when GameStop sends me games that don't even have the case with them? So this stack of Switch games right here is an example of that. All of these are games, and they do have replacement cases, but they don't have the original case artwork. What that means is I can still sell them on Amazon. I just have to sell them in acceptable condition. I'll write in the description, I have that preloaded in there, that they do not have the original case and manual. So even though they do have a case, it's not the one with the original artwork. They usually do sell a little bit slower and end up selling for a bit less. But that is how I end up moving those games, and usually I do still make a good amount of money on them. One tip that I will give you guys is that I tend to lean much more towards recent gen systems rather than like Xbox 360 or PS3 or Wii U or earlier, just because I tend to get a lot more returns. The older the game is, they're more likely to be scratched and to have been resurfaced one too many times, and I just get a lot more returns with those like third gen, I think it's third gen, 360, Wii U, etc. games and older. Another question would be, Caleb, how much do you expect to make on all of this stuff? And the general answer is I usually shoot for in the neighborhood of 100% ROI, which means that if I'm putting $10 into a game, I usually want to make $10 in profit. Now, some of the games that I have in these stacks that I've purchased will end up bringing a little bit more than that, especially the ones that are like this in very good condition with their case in manual. But sometimes if a game sells fast enough, and I tell that by looking at the sales rank on the Amazon seller app, I'll actually settle for a margin that is a little bit lower than that, an ROI that is less than 100%. Because if I know that it's going to move really quickly, it's probably going to sell within a day or a few days or a week of hitting the warehouse, I'm all right with taking less than 100% of my money back in profit. That is enough rambling about that from me. Getting all of this stuff collapsed and consolidated is honestly a little bit of a chore for me, but it doesn't have to be for you guys, because I can just time-lapse it. Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that was a very satisfying process. Now, before I move on to unpacking and sorting everything that I didn't get done in the live stream, probably in another time lapse, honestly, I thought it'd be really cool and instructive to go through a couple games on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how successful I anticipate them being. So on the unfortunate side of things, we have Marvel Avengers. I didn't go too crazy on this. The reason was I saw the price on this game fluctuating a lot. I didn't feel all that confident. When I bought it, it was going for significantly more than it is now. The price has tanked a little bit. That is what you usually want to look out for. That's the biggest way that this process can go wrong, is if a lot of sellers come into the market or a big player like Amazon just cuts the price on something and cuts your profit substantially. So I paid $12 a piece for at least a few copies of this game. I'm only going to end up getting 16 in total gross proceeds from this game when I sell, so a $4 profit when originally I was expecting to make close to 100% ROI. So that one is definitely not the best return, but at the same time, if I'm still making money even on the games that don't turn out well, I'm not going to complain. On the opposite end of that spectrum, we have Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympic Games. This game sold out very fast after GameStop put their initial 50% off sale as active. I think it actually happened the night before it was supposed to, as they often do. Anyway, this game I bought as many copies as I possibly could at $13.16 a piece, which is absolutely wild. This game is never that cheap, and it will sell probably the day or the week that it hits the warehouse for a $16 profit after fees, so $29 gross proceeds on this game. So I picked up as many as I could. I'm not sure how many I'll actually end up with, how many have been shipped and everything, but this game was a really excellent pickup and sold out pretty quick. Now, before I move into a time lapse of unpacking the rest of that stuff and getting it sorted into these piles, I did want to say there are pretty much two ways that you can replicate this method for yourself. One of them is I actually posted a video detailing the whole process of this stuff, more of the details, a few weeks ago, so you're welcome to check that out on my channel and just kind of do the method for yourself. Scan games using the Amazon seller app from GameStop.com. If you find out they are having a sale, just check back every day and then figure out for yourself what items are profitable. But if you're looking to shortcut that whole process, the other option is I did create a monthly service, a video game reseller Discord, in which I just monitor GameStop sales that are going on every day. I'll post when they drop and also post all of the games that I end up buying from those sales so that other people have access to them as well. So if that's something you're interested in, I have that linked in the description. And so far I've gotten really good feedback on how much money people have been able to make through those leads while those leads are still active. The reason that I'm able to make videos like these is that none of these games that I am showing here are really profitable anymore because they're not on sale, but being able to get notified when they do go on sale has definitely been helpful to a lot of folks. Let's get into opening all of this other stuff up so that in the end I can show you guys the total magnitude of all of these $11,000 worth of games that I bought in the last couple weeks. Well, folks, here everything is the fruits of our labor. What you're looking at here is well over 600 video game titles that came as a result of this purchase. And the craziest thing is there are still a whole bunch that are still in the mail. One thing that I did want to draw your attention to is just the really good ratio of games here that are indeed in very good complete condition. We do have some games down here that were just sent in these little like disc envelopes that they have. So that's always unfortunate to see. They didn't even come with cases. There are a few 3DS games here that have replacement cases. You can't really see, but behind this right here is a layer of PS4 and Xbox One games that don't have the cases as well. And then back in this corner, we've got all the Switch games that came with their replacement cases. A definitely overwhelming majority of games did come with their original cases and artwork, which is excellent to see because I can sell those games in very good condition. The other thing to note is just how many games came in new condition, despite the fact that the only game I actually ordered in new condition was this Fortnite Deep Freeze bundle. The rest of these were all ordered in used condition, but they sent me new copies anyway. This is something that GameStop has been known to sometimes do. If they've just got an excess of new sealed condition games, sometimes they will sell them as pre-owned just to get them to move a little bit more. So I'm really happy to see how many of those I actually got with this load. Another question that I think people may have is how long I expect to take to process all of this stuff. Getting all of this just unpacked and doing the live. And the other thing that I still do have to do is sort these by title so that I know how many I have as I am scanning them into Amazon and listing them. This whole process, it's coming up on the end of the workday, so this was about a day's worth of work, although granted, I didn't get up until 9 o'clock today because I just slept really poorly the night before, but that's part of the advantage of being self-employed is you get to make calls like that. So anyway, I would say getting all of this sorted and prepped and everything will probably take around a day. I'd say about another full business day to get this all listed and shipped to Amazon. Not to mention it was probably about a day's work or maybe even more to get all of that stuff ordered because you can only order 3 of a certain game per cart. So loading your cart up multiple times to get everything like that is just, it's a lengthy process. And then once you factor in returns and the time that you have to take processing those and testing them and resending them in, and then also the time to get all of this stuff cleared up and out of this room, I'd say we can estimate around a week and a half to maybe 2 weeks of labor that went into this load for an estimated projected $10,000 in profit after everything sells, which to me is obviously an excellent return for the work. And it just kind of goes to show you the raw power of Q4 with people buying stuff like crazy and the sales that actually go on, just how much opportunity there is out there for this kind of online arbitrage. I think I might actually tie that into my burning question of the day, which will be, what is your favorite method of sourcing? Is it online arbitrage like this stuff, retail arbitrage? That's something that I personally don't touch a whole lot. Or is it going to like thrift stores and yard sales and looking for used stuff, those one-offs that can be really high margin? Let me know in the comments what you like to do best and why. I've rambled on for long enough, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, what should I flip here? How about these Spyro Reignited trilogies? Until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip.